You know, that number, high blood pressure, it can feel like something you have no control over, right? But what if I told you the power to bring it down is actually, well, it's already in your hands? That's what we're going to dive into. Simple, proven lifestyle changes that can help you take charge of your blood pressure the natural way.
Okay, so before we jump into all the solutions, we've got to get on the same page about the problem itself. Let's really understand why high blood pressure is, well, why it's such a big deal for our health.
You've probably heard this phrase before, and it is chilling for a reason. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer. And that phrase, man, it just hits you, right? It gets right to the heart of the issue. This is something that can be brewing for years with absolutely no signs, no symptoms, nothing.
So, the official medical name for it is hypertension. And what it does is it just quietly, day by day, cranks up your risk for some really serious stuff. We're talking heart disease, stroke, and even kidney problems. And because you might not feel anything is wrong, being proactive, well, it's not just a good idea, it's everything. Okay, so how do we actually fight back against this silent threat? Well, here's the good news, and it's really good news. The solution breaks down into 4 key areas that you and I can actually control. We're going to walk through them one by one. I call them the 4 pillars: the food fix, the power of movement, mastering your stress, and building smarter habits. Seriously, think of this as your personal roadmap to taking back control. All right, let's kick things off with pillar number 1, the food fix. This is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful tools you have. And look, this isn't about some crazy, restrictive diet where you can't eat anything fun. Not at all. It's about making smarter choices consistently day in and day out. And what's really cool is that when you look at the science, 2 of the top recommended ways of eating, the DASH diet and the Mediterranean diet, they're basically built on the same foundation. It's all about real, whole foods. You know, the good stuff. Fresh fruits, tons of vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and those healthy fats we keep hearing about.
The game plan here is actually a really simple but super powerful trade-off. On one hand, you want to cut back on the high sodium stuff, you know, the processed foods, the super salty snacks. But at the same time, you want to bring in more foods packed with potassium. Think bananas, sweet potatoes, spinach. Why? Because potassium literally helps your body get rid of extra sodium. It's like a 1-2 punch for lowering blood pressure. And hey, want to know a few other little superstars for your diet? Research points to some awesome bonus supporters. Things like garlic, beetroot juice, and even just a small handful of nuts each day can give your heart and blood vessels that little extra bit of help.
Okay, we've got our food foundation set. Now, let's build on that with our second pillar, the power of movement. And listen, I need you to hear this loud and clear. You do not have to become some elite athlete to reap the benefits. Not even close.
So what are we talking about? What's the magic number? It's this: 30 minutes. That's it. 30 little minutes of moderate activity on most days. That one simple goal can make a massive difference in your blood pressure. It's totally doable, and believe me, it is so powerful.
So what does that actually look like during a busy week? Well, the sweet spot is about 5 days a week. And the activities? Super simple stuff. A brisk walk, a bike ride, maybe a swim. It's also a great idea to sprinkle in some strength training 2 or 3 times a week. But here's the secret for all of us with packed schedules. It all adds up. Even short little breaks, a 10-minute walk, some stretching, it all counts. It really does.
All right, pillar 1, food, check. Pillar 2, movement, check. Now for pillar 3. And this is the one that so many of us forget about, but it is absolutely critical: mastering your stress. See, when you're stressed out all the time, your blood pressure can stay elevated. So figuring out how to manage that stress, it's just not optional.
And here's the best part: the fixes aren't complicated or expensive. We're talking about things you can do right now, like just taking a few deep breaths, trying out a simple meditation app, or hey, just putting on your favorite song. Getting lost in a hobby, or even just stepping outside for 5 minutes of fresh air can be a game changer. The only rule is to find what really, truly works for you. And here's a big one for our modern world, right? Limiting screen time, especially before bed. I know, it's tough. But making that time to disconnect and just relax, it isn't a luxury. When it comes to managing stress and therefore your blood pressure, it's just as important as your diet and your exercise. Seriously. And that brings us to our 4th and final pillar, smarter habits. This one is all about the power of small, daily adjustments. These are the little things that, when you add them all up over time, have a massive impact on your heart health. So let's break a few of these down. We're talking about things like being smart with alcohol, paying attention to caffeine, especially if you know it affects you, quitting smoking, that's a huge one, with benefits that start almost immediately. And finally, please do not underestimate the power of sleep. Getting that solid 7 to 8 hours a night is when your body does its repair work. It regulates stress hormones, and it literally helps lower your blood pressure while you rest. It's a total cornerstone.
Whew, okay, we've covered a ton of ground, right? We've walked through all 4 pillars for managing your blood pressure naturally. So, the big question isn't what should I do anymore? The question is, what will I do? It's time to think about taking that very first step.
And just remember, the real magic here is how these 4 pillars all work together. They're a team. Eating better, moving your body, managing your stress, and tweaking those daily habits. They all support each other to bring that number down and boost your overall health.
Look, the goal here is not to wake up tomorrow and change your entire life. That's overwhelming. The real power is in starting small. Just look back at everything we talked about and pick one thing, just one. So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. Which small change are you going to start with today?